I'm Dr. Zoya and this is Dr. Sanjay from Trick1 Aesthetics in Mayfair, and today we're going to talk to you about the amazing new treatment called the Sculptra Mini Lift or the Sculptra Ponytail Lift. So essentially what we're trying to do is create a result that gives you something like this. Bit of a lift.
Wow.
What about you? So this is something that a lot of our patients felt that they wanted. So what we're going to be doing with this product is injecting small amounts into the hairline and just on the sides of the face. And this is going to stimulate up to 65% more collagen than any other product on the market without adding too much volume. So you get a nice lift like this without lots of volume in the face.
But first, to give you a bit of a background into why we're introducing Sculptra now, when we first entered the industry, this was back in 2015, Sculptra was around and lots of people were talking about it back then, but it never really took my interest because talking to other doctors, talking to patients, there seemed to be quite a high complication rate and it didn't seem to be the most appealing treatment to me at the time, and there seemed to be newer and better things out. But recently we were just in Monaco in the world's biggest aesthetic medicine conference, and suddenly I was watching, usually the lectures are all very similar, it's the same type of thing every year, but there were a lot of doctors who were presenting from America and from Brazil, and these are doctors who we really respect, and they were talking a lot about Sculptra, specifically using it within the hairline to create this ponytail lift. Now this is something that I hadn't really seen before and it was new to me, and I had these old ideas that maybe Sculptra wasn't the best treatment, but yet here I am seeing doctors I really respect talking about Sculptra in 2023. Clearly I was thinking we must be missing something. Let's investigate a bit further.
So the thing that changed in 2021, and there was a paper published about it that you can see across your screens now, was that there was a change in the dilution and how you made up the Sculptra product.
So what is in Sculptra and how does it work?
So Sculptra is made up of something called poly-L-lactic acid, or PLLA for short, and this has been used in the medical world for years. It's actually been around since the early 1930s, and the last 30 years or so it's been used in the hospitals for things like medical sutures and lots of other things. And in the aesthetic industry or in the cosmetic world, it's been used in the past to create lots and lots of volume, but now with this new dilution it's being used more as a biostimulator that just stimulates enough collagen in your skin to give you a bit of a lift, but also it can rejuvenate the skin itself.
And with the new dilution, it's a lot safer. The complication rate is going to be a lot less than compared to before.
Yeah, much less. We're going to go into the details of the complications shortly.
So PLLA is a synthetic plant-based product, and it's been around for many years. It's been injected in over 30 countries, and there have been hundreds of thousands of cases of this being used.
PLLA induces a natural inflammatory response in our bodies, and that creates lots and lots of collagen in our skin, up to 65% more than all other products in the market, like I said. And the body recognizes it as its own, and because it's made up of an alpha hydroxy acid. And over time it gets broken down into lactic acid and is removed from the body. So after a few months you're left with your own body's collagen, elastin, hyaluronic acid, etc., and none of the actual PLLA in your body itself. So actually you're left with just your own natural stuff.
And that's a little bit different to something like a dermal filler, which is made of hyaluronic acid, but that stays with you until it breaks down slowly over time. So this is a hugely evidence-based product with tons and tons of scientific literature, as you can see around us here.
So there are two things that I really like about this treatment, and one of them is that it gradually builds that collagen in your skin, and it's not something that just happens immediately and you get tons and tons of it and then that's it, it's gone. And that gradual release of collagen prolongs the results, and it can actually last up to 2 years. The second thing I really like about it is that previously it was known as, just this big volumizer, and people would get so much volume with it. But now with this new dilution, it's more of a biostimulator that's stimulating your own body's collagen, so you get a lift, your skin looks better, but you don't look done. So it really fits with our ethos of everything being very natural look.
So where else can Sculptra be used? Primarily we've been talking about how it can lift within the face. It can also be used with different dilutions to volumize within the face.
So that's like a completely different treatment.
Yeah, different type of treatment.
Completely different to what we've been talking about.
Yeah, but also it can be used in other areas around the body. For example, around your stomach area, your buttocks, the arms, the legs. So it's quite a versatile product that can be used all over the place, essentially to improve skin quality within those areas.
The main way that we're using it in clinic, and probably the only way really, is to create this mini lift or this ponytail lift. And that's because our patients really want it, and they've been asking for something like this for ages and ages. And you can do a certain degree with other modalities that we have, like fillers, toxin, other devices that we have in clinic. But this is a really good treatment and a really effective treatment that I think, the patients that we've done so far are really loving the results.
It's just one more non-surgical way we can try and get a lift in a way that keeps things looking natural.
Yeah, that's the main thing, I think, because it's not creating that added volume, so your face isn't going to look heavy. Because the problem with fillers that can come about is that patients want more and more and more to create a certain type of look. But then, the counterbalance to that is that sometimes you can look overdone, which we never like to do. So then you're kind of stuck. But this is a really nice way of lifting that region in a non-surgical way.
How many sessions of Sculptra do you need? Well, for this type of treatment that Zoya's just discussed, typically what we would see is about 2 to 3 sessions about 6 weeks apart would be optimal. And remember, because this is collagen stimulation, it's a bit more like slow and steady wins the race, where it's going to improve slowly over time, which makes it quite different to something like dermal fillers, which are a bit more immediate and you can see a more dramatic result straight away. This is more a slow, gentle lift taking place slowly over time. So is it a painful treatment?
So in the patients that we've treated so far, no. And the reasons for this are, we use something called a cannula, so not the cannulas you see in the hospital, but a cannula essentially that's a blunt-ended tube, so nothing sharp is going anywhere near the area that we're injecting. So primarily along the hairline and the side of the face. The blunt-ended tube travels in a layer of your skin that barely has any pain fibers, so it's quite comfortable. No one's found it very painful.
And the anaesthesia.
Yeah, and there's local anaesthetic that we place into the vial as well, so that really helps numb the region too, so it's a very comfortable treatment.
A lot of patients actually, the normal feedback we hear is more along the lines of, is anything going on? I can barely feel anything. Wow, this is completely okay. So generally the feedback we get from patients is it's a very comfortable procedure, which is nice.
Yeah.
So what's the downtime for this procedure? Now, with basically all injectables, we always say it can take 2 to 3 weeks to really settle down. This is no different. But having said that, it's towards the lower end of risk of bruising and swelling. So most commonly, it's quite a smooth journey. There's minimal bruising and swelling. Things would look good on the day and just get better and better and better. We don't really expect much bruising and swelling with this procedure. Now let's talk about the risks and complications with the procedure. So there's going to be the common stuff and the rare stuff. With the common stuff, it's just going to be bruising and swelling. As we've discussed, that isn't typically too bad.
So when you type in Sculptra into the internet, you'll get a whole host of scary things pop up. You type in anything into the internet and you get that. But with Sculptra specifically, over the years, the thing that keeps coming up is this nodule formation. So that's like small bumps that can form under the skin, and that's essentially a collection of the collagen, or down the line it can be a collection of what we call like a granuloma, for example. This has become drastically much lower with the new dilution of the product in the last 2 years. So previously it was something like 2 mils, and then that resulted in a lot of complications in terms of nodule formation. So that's why we've stayed away from it for a very long time. But now, with this much higher dilution and better composition of the product, now it's 0.4% in terms of how common it is to get a nodule formation. And this risk is even further reduced if you follow the correct aftercare, which is super important with this treatment. That's why we've made a whole separate video on it that you can have a look at on our channel too.
With regards to complications, I feel the same way about it that you probably do, because what I want from my patients is a nice, smooth, easy journey where everything's going to be as expected. Because the last thing we want is anything like an abscess, nodule, infection, anything like that. That will be stressful not only for the patient but for us too. So the reason why we've introduced it now is because with the new dilutions, it feels like an extremely safe procedure that's extremely reliable and is going to give the type of result that we want.
So thanks for watching this video about the Sculptra mini lift or the pony lift. If you want to know about the aftercare specifically, then please look at our other videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe.